Unfortunately, a lot of you lovelies watching my channel suffer with miscarriages. And a question that I get a lot is, how do I chart following a miscarriage? If you're watching this video, chances are quite big that you have suffered with a miscarriage recently. So let me start by sending you a big, big hug first. And then let's get into your question. Hello my lovelies, and welcome to another one of my videos in which I'll answer your question on how to chart after a miscarriage. Sadly, miscarriages happen a lot, like a lot. And if you haven't had one before, but you have had one now, or you've had several by now, you're maybe only just finding this out because weirdly enough, there is still a bit of a taboo on this topic, and the information around this topic is definitely improving, but there still isn't quite enough information, definitely online, on how to deal with a miscarriage physically and emotionally while it's happening, or how to deal with the after effects. And I think that's one of the reasons I do get a lot of questions from you about this. And I want to contribute and produce more content on this topic. So while a video with the word miscarriage in the title isn't exactly pleasant to come across, it is content that is very, very much needed. As I said, I'm getting quite a lot of questions about how to deal with a miscarriage or the after effects. And one of those questions is, how do I chart following a miscarriage? And I suspect this is because when you have had a miscarriage, the levels of hCG, the pregnancy hormone, are still up in your system. And if you then want to track for ovulation using LH tests, you may get a positive LH test, but it is not actually telling you that LH is up, but hCG is up. And that is because these two hormones look quite similar. And as a result, an LH test can become positive if you have hCG in your system. This is also why sometimes women ask, can I use an LH test to check if I'm pregnant if I don't have any pregnancy tests? And I did do a video on this, so if you're interested in that, I'll make sure to link it in the cards. So if that LH test that you're using might be picking up on hCG instead of the LH telling you you're about to ovulate, how do you know when you are about to ovulate? The technical answer is that you should basically chart as if you have an irregular cycle. As long as you're bleeding, you shouldn't be expecting to be ovulating. And even if you would be ovulating, the question is, would you really want to make love to try and conceive then? So wait until the bleeding is over and then monitor your body for fertile symptoms. The biggest one is your cervical mucus. As soon as you start to see fertile cervical mucus, this is a time that you can start using the LH test. And I would recommend not using a digital test, but the little test strips, because those can show you the intensity of the test. Is there a light double line or is it super dark? And if it's really light still, then that tells you you are moving towards LH going up, but it's not quite positive. And then when you have the two lines that are equally dark, then that is telling you it's positive. As soon as you notice that the LH test is getting that second line, so not just a control line, but also the test line, you can do an hCG test, the pregnancy test, and see if that one is negative. If that test is negative, then you know that the LH test is picking up on LH and not hCG. If you do get a positive pregnancy test, then you can basically not go by the LH test. You should assume that your body is still in pregnancy mode and not moving towards ovulation yet. If that pregnancy test is negative, then you just proceed, you keep testing for LH, and as soon as you see that it is completely positive, then you know you are about to ovulate. Keep testing until you have 3 days of an elevated temperature, and that confirms if you did indeed ovulate shortly after you had that positive test. Here is the non-technical answer. Take your time. Be honest with yourself about why you might be feeling rushed. Do you really want to conceive the cycle after you had a miscarriage? If your body is still picking up on hCG, is your body ready for another pregnancy? And if your body might not be, are you sure that you are emotionally ready for that? And I can understand if this question makes you cross, because that tends to happen, right? It happens to me as well. If somebody is prodding me about something I don't want to think about or don't really want to answer because I'm on a track and I'm going for it, I get annoyed and I get it. But I would be terrible at my job if I didn't ask you this question, because who else might be asking you this question? So again, are you really ready to start charting and find that fertile window? Or do you feel like maybe you want to take a break? It's okay to take a break. Take a break for a cycle or 2 or even 3. It also really depends on how long you were pregnant for. If you had a chemical pregnancy, which is a very unfortunate name for what they call a miscarriage, if it was very shortly after you conceived, so that could be that you started bleeding right around when you expected your period or very shortly after, then maybe it is appropriate for you to try again. But it could very well be very appropriate for you to wait a cycle. The longer you were pregnant for, the longer you might find appropriate to wait to try again. I'd like to point you towards 2 videos I've done in the past. One is a video on pregnancy loss, offering you encouragement and tools to deal with the miscarriage and the after effects. And the other one is how to avoid a D&C. So if you're currently in that situation that you know that you are miscarrying, but it isn't quite happening naturally, or you're still dealing with some remaining tissue, then this might be the video for you. And if you want to learn more about charting in general, then click on the playlist on your screen right now. And in the meantime, take heart, lovely. See you in the next video. Bye.